Dear Spaghetti and Meatball, what is some advice you can give us on regrets in our lives? As I've gotten older, I've come to realize that there are a lot of things that I regret not doing when I was younger. I can't help but think how my life could be different if I just did something different when I was younger. Dude. Would love to hear your perspective on this. P.S. Shout out to my friend Mason, who's in the hospital for a blown out back right now. Poop scoop, Tim the Tim Man. Is that is that a gay joke? He got his backside blown out.
Well, Tim the Tim Man, I'm going to start.
Okay.
This is if there's anything you ever take away from me, anything, it's this right here. Regret is a wasted emotion. Spend no time with regret.
No.
No. You can learn from past experiences.
Yes.
But for the most part, 99.976% of the time, it is not relevant because those same circumstances that led you to make your decision the first time will not repeat themselves.
Right, because you could get your backside blown out at any time.
Yes.
So I agree with what you're saying. I think that you should pre-regret. And that's exactly what's happening here. If you convince yourself that if you don't do something, you're going to regret it, there's a better chance you're going to do it. So do that. Just think, if I don't do this, I'll regret it. So, work on pre-regret.
Okay. I can't argue. I guess I can't argue with that.
Right. It makes sense, doesn't it?
But a lot of times that people feel regret for something, it's not because it's not like it's a yes or no decision in the moment. Mm-hmm. And you think, okay, if I say no, I'm going to regret this. If I say yes, I'm going to have a blast. That's not how it is.
Yeah, that's true. So, okay. I heard something today about a guy, I don't know, 20 years ago, whatever the it was. He bought he found an offer on the internet for somebody willing to give him 2 large pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins. And 10,000 Bitcoins was virtually worthless at the time. And the pizzas was like $40 for 2 large pizzas. And he took it. And that $40 in pizza now is worth, I don't know, $80 million or whatever. I'm sure that guy regrets eating that pizza from Papa John's for $80 million.
And I would tell him the same thing. Regret is a wasted emotion. You can't change the past. There's no point in spending any energy thinking about mistakes from the past.
That is so not true, because what if you're on the internet right now and somebody's like, hey, if you have 10,000 of whatever coin you have, I'll give you 2 free pizzas. Your first instinct should be, I tried that once and you got me. Now I have $80 million and I'm not taking those pizzas. So you learn from your mistakes.
That's not true. Your first instinct should be to evaluate the situation, all the variables that are in play, and then make a decision. I said at the beginning of this, you should learn from past mistakes. Mm-hmm. That is different than living with regret.
No, pre-regret. Do you not understand what I'm saying? You pre-regret things so that you don't regret them later.
We're not talking about pre-regret anymore. We're talking about regret. We're talking about post-regret.
Post-regression theory? So, okay. Do you agree that if you live with, if you think of keep in the back of your head the idea that if I don't do these things that I want to do, I'm going to regret it. It's going to drive you to do more things. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. So then do that. We're in agreement. Hope that helped.
Okay. You don't give a about helping people.
Yes, I do. How is that? That's genuine advice.
That's very specific advice. If you ever find yourself at a fork in the road, choose the direction on the road that looks the most fun. That's what you just said.
Yeah. I stand by that.
Good advice.
Take the road that's the most fun. Yes, exactly.
Dear Hippie, Andy, and Dork, let's start with the juicy part so you don't skip this rather long question. Sorry in advance. The only thing stopping my suicide is fear. I have dreams, I didn't say you didn't, motherfucker.
You arguing with me?
I have dreams, you know. I want to be an author or a poet or some other gay. I am 19 years young and have just applied for university, but I'm quite certain that I'm not going to come in. I feel I have no power in my life. My alcoholic dad has decided that we should move to a shithole in fucking nowhere, and I have no say. I don't have enough money to move out, and despite searching for numerous jobs, I have not gotten any. Question time. Dorg, pay attention. Mm-hmm. What should I do? How do I get some control and meaning into my life? P.S. Love from Sweden. Sorry for the broken English. Poop scoop. Love y'all.
I read something interesting recently, and this kind of reminded me of it, that something that's missing from or that is affecting a lot of young men's lives is men tend to do worse when they feel a lack of control over their own lives. And the way that our society has moved forward, most men have zero control over their own lives or anything else, you know, or feel that they have zero control. So I think this guy's kind of along those lines. You feel like you have no control over anything, so it's making you depressed, I suppose, suicidal, I guess. He said he was going to commit suicide, but
what the fuck are you spending your time reading? Where did you read that at? It wasn't on the back of a shampoo bottle. I know that.
No, I was shitting reading the back of the shampoo bottles. I don't remember. It was probably a week ago that I read it. I don't fucking remember. I'm all over the place.
That sounds gay as shit. I mean, like a gay theory.
Why?
That men now feel like they have less control than men of the past.
No. I think you're misunderstanding. Not that they feel like they have less control, but that they actually do have less control over their own lives. And they don't, it's not like they realize, hey, I don't have any control. It's something that kind of gradually happened. And the theory was that
I'm not sure. I apologize if you're getting ready to explain it, but I want examples of that. Like examples of what did this article say that men have mostly lost control of their lives?
So basically the point was that there's been for many, many years a feminization of men and men's roles, like with toxic masculinity and any sort of man controlled thing being pushed to the side or relegated as bad. If you're a man and you show any sort of dominance or control at all, it's almost being pushed out of you, like it's bad for a man to be in control.
I've never experienced that.
Yeah, you're old. That's why I preface this by saying young people now. Though you have to agree that young people now, their experience in the world is completely different than yours and mine was, right?
Huh.
Okay. Fair enough.
Oh, so okay, yeah, I missed that part. So you're saying that like in school and everything, they're putting their knee on masculinity.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like a feminization of everything. And basically pushing masculinity out, and even the term toxic masculinity, they're telling young people that's bad to be masculine and bad for men to control anything. The patriarchy is bad, and it affects.
You don't think maybe this guy's just his dad's an asshole?
Like, I mean, yes. Two things can be true at once. His dad's an asshole alcoholic, and I don't have any like answers. I'm just telling you that this paralleled to what I was reading. It makes sense to me. Take some control of your own life. I don't know how.
Yeah, I think that's what he was looking for.
How? I don't. Dude, he lives in another country. I've never met the guy.
How the fuck does that change you giving advice to anybody every week on this when we do Dear Flabbies? You've never met any of them.
No. You're not understanding. This guy's looking for specific advice on how to take control of his life?
Yes.
And you have specific advice on how someone should take control of their life that you've never met.
I have specific advice on how he could take control of his life, even though I've never met him.
Perfect. How?
Start wearing dresses.
Yes, I'm with you. I was wrong. I was ready to argue with you, but I don't have an argument for that. That will get you all the control you need.
Your dad will quit talking to you.
Yeah, maybe and start even drinking more. Dear Flabberoni and Cheese, for some reason, when a diversity says something in broken English, I can understand it perfectly. But when a white person does, I have to decipher what they meant. Are either of you like this, or is it my internalized racism assume diversity can't speak English? If the latter, would upping my tier on Patreon cleanse me of my sins? Yes. Always. I don't know what your sins are. Yes.
So I guess I don't understand what he meant. What I got from it is when a minority speaks in broken English, he can understand what they're saying. But then he said when a white person speaks in broken English.
Yeah, why would a white person speak in broken English?
That's why I said I don't understand this.
Yeah, that doesn't. I mean, what white people? It's just regular English if they're white. I mean,
unless white people speak in Ebonics.
Oh, don't talk to them people. Those are the worst people.
How come you don't have anybody that pretends to be other races? Like you have white people that pretend to be black.
Yeah.
But why don't you have like white people that pretend to be Vietnamese?
That would be awesome. So I was going to ask you, I'm sure you knew a lot of kids that wanted to be black, tried to be black, whatever. Is that still a phenomenon that happens now? I mean, is it still?
I don't know. I'm not allowed around schools.
I was going to say last time you were in high school, was it like that? I just don't know. I don't know if that's a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Because it was.
I have to assume it is a thing. Like probably way worse now than it was when we were in school.
Really?
No, I mean, you figure when we were in school, you had maybe 1% of the graduating class would shave their eyebrows and wear bib overalls.
Now it's like 30%.
I would bet it's at least 13%, 12 to 13%.
Really? Wow. That's crazy. Maybe we should get some just out of high school people on here. I don't want any high school kids, but just out of high school to give us their experience of the world. Just to keep us grounded, you know what I mean? Yeah, we should have some of our 18-year-old listeners give us census of their high schools. Yeah. I want to know how many black people, how many white people wanted to be black people. I don't even know that I care about that. I want to know how many people. I want somebody that knows somebody that pretended to be Vietnamese. Why Vietnamese? Because I think that would be a funny race to mimic. Don't they just wear flip flops and eat rice? I mean, what else are they doing? Embed yourself in their culture, like putting punji sticks in your backyard and all that shit. I don't know anything about Vietnamese culture except for punji sticks. And are they the ones that wear the pointy rice hats? Yeah. Punji sticks and pointy rice hats. Yeah, you may. Okay, so if you think about how old's your oldest? 17. Okay. So you think about a 17-year-old kid who has totally immersed themselves in a different culture. Yeah. And what that must be like as a parent, right? So you have said that one of your kids is starting to enjoy Insane Clown Posse. Uh-huh. Okay. Have they done anything like painted their fingernails black, or do they dress up like clowns? Have they learned to juggle? Anything like that? None of that. Okay. Have they learned to juggle? But if you imagine having a kid who was going through that phase of pretending to be black, right? And then, the first time they walk in the house, like they left little Timmy, and then they come back and they're like, "Yo, what's up, dog?" And it just gradually creeps in. If you can imagine that same scenario, except he comes in the house and he's like, "Ching chong." You're like, "What the fuck?" And then he's out in the yard and he's like, living in the middle of fucking Kansas, and he's trying to grow a rice paddy out there with the hose or whatever they do. He's out there with the rake, just the little tiny wooden rake in your yard. Oh my God. Can you think of a funnier race for a white person to mimic? So, is it okay. So then let's take it this way. Every time, I could be a lawyer. Every time a white person rapes somebody, that they were just trying to be Indian. That's what I'm going with. Your Honor, they were trying to be Indian.
And then the Indians are out there with picket signs and shit. You know, our culture is not your costume.
Right. Stop raping. Our culture is not your costume. That's perfect. I don't know if that beats Vietnamese though. I think Vietnamese would be way funnier.